Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and I know I might be a little bit late to this subject. It's been going on for probably the better part of a week at least now, but it's something I want to talk about because I think it really highlights an issue with the internet in general, with like the new age internet at least. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that like, you know, oh, we need to go back to 2005 where everything is anonymous and anyone can do anything and no repercussions come from it or anything like that, but it's just insane how far this situation went over something literally not that serious, right? How far people on TikTok are willing to take this shit against people simply because people start saying ridiculous shit, right? People go onto TikTok, they basically complain about something that's a non-issue. They then have everyone who apparently faces the same issue gang up on somebody. Next thing you know, someone's life can be ruined. And today we'll be talking about the West Elm Caleb situation. If you haven't heard about that, it's literally gotten to the point that it's making mainstream news. It's probably the first witch hunt of 2022 that I've really seen here. There's usually a couple every year that people talk about. I remember back in the day we were talking about like skyjacks and doxing people on Twitter and whatnot over jokes and stuff like that. But this is kind of on a whole different level, man. This is somebody who was considered just a regular person in society, right? This West Elm Caleb, you know, works a regular job in New York City, lives what you think would be a normal life, but literally because he ghosted some strangers on the internet, people are now fucking doxing him, contacting his employer, trying to get him fired, sharing his personal information on the internet, allowing people to harass him, claiming that he committed these random fucking atrocities, which includes love bombing, okay, and just a bunch of other random things, man. It really highlights a massive problem with the internet. Like, in my opinion, I don't understand why things like this need to go this far, why people's livelihoods need to be in jeopardy, their safety needs to be in jeopardy, their personal information needs to now basically be a pawn against them, literally because they didn't respond to some fucking Tinder messages. Like, I'm not even kidding, that is literally what we're talking about here. So, to kind of introduce this topic, right, this West Elm Caleb guy, you know, apparently he works and lives in New York City. Obviously, most of you know what like Tinder and Hinge and Bumble and all these things are, these dating apps. You know, you randomly match with a stranger, you swipe left or right or whatever, and when you match, you guys can DM and talk, you can date, you can, you know, go back to your house, whatever, right? It's not my business, but essentially this West Elm Caleb guy was doing what most people our age do, was using a dating app, and he was doing something called ghosting, okay? Now this is when obviously you're having a conversation with somebody or you go on a date with somebody and you never text them back ever again, right? So this guy was like talking to women on the app and then would just suddenly stop replying, or he would go on a first date with them, right? And everything would seemingly go well. He'd never text back the next morning. This has been something well documented in society pretty much ever since texting and instant communication was a thing. Sometimes, you know, the first date just isn't nice. It doesn't work out. You don't want to talk to the person anymore. You want to move on, right? These kinds of things happen, and that's okay. But apparently it's not okay according to TikTok because, well, multiple people came forward talking about this guy, and it blew up into this massive trend that now has 100 million plus views about it. It got to the point that people started throwing around crazy allegations, including that he was love bombing people, and I believe people even made sexual assault allegations against him, which were completely unproven, unfounded, had no evidence, really only came out while everybody was already ganging up on him for everything else. So there's definitely a little bit to question with this entire thing. So I kind of just want to talk about this situation and just discuss how not only mentally deranged some of these people are who are harassing him and doxing him and even really caring about this situation, but also really to just highlight how being a regular person in today's society, you can instantaneously get canceled for literally fucking nothing. I understand, you know, cancel culture, it gets overblown and everything, you know, it's not as big of a threat as some people make it out to be, but I really can't think of anything else to describe this situation. I mean, like I said, people were calling this guy's employer, they were finding his home address, they were doxing him, all because he didn't respond to some strangers on a fucking dating app, man. Like, does anyone else not think that that's completely deranged? So it all started when this girl on TikTok, who has now deleted the video, basically detailed her dating experience with a guy named Caleb in NYC. When this came out, a bunch of people in the comments started commenting about a guy named West Elm Caleb, who, by the way, wasn't even the same guy that the initial poster was even talking about in her video. So this West Elm Caleb guy gets around, obviously. You know, he's made such a name for himself or whatever by pulling bitches, which I gotta say, to pull so many bitches and text so many people that you literally are now like an urban myth, hats off to you, my guy. I mean, you are actually out here slaying ass. Like, I gotta give it to you, bro. Whatever you're doing, it's working, right? You're getting in the fucking DMs or whatever, man. So people start talking about this, and it blows up into this big fucking situation, okay? And this guy's the worst person ever, right? So let's go down and talk about everything that he did one by one and describe why it's not a big deal. Number one, he was ghosting people, okay? First and foremost, these were strangers, okay? It's not like these people knew him, you know, were set up with him by a friend, something like that. A computer algorithm and servers on a different side of the world literally matched them together on a phone app. And they texted briefly or whatever, and he, for whatever reason, was no longer interested in texting, so he moved on with his life. It's kind of funny to me that this has become a big issue because in the dating scene in the last few years, I've noticed this trend where, you know, people want to do something called like casual dating or whatever, right? A lot of people they don't want the social boundaries of being in a traditional relationship, right? So what they do is they download Tinder, they fuck 10 people a week, you know, they go out on free dates or whatever with a guy, get them a nice meal, they can have sex with whoever they want, they can fucking choose their partners literally right there on their phone. Absolutely no problem with that, by the way. I don't see the issue with people having a casual relationship stance, not wanting to take anything seriously, not wanting to be in a committed relationship, but still, you know, wanting to have a sex life, still wanting to have a personal life and have friends and go do things. I don't really see the big deal with that, right? So that's what this guy was doing. You know, he was getting around on Tinder, right? Which is what pretty much everyone intends to do on these apps in the first place. I don't personally know many people my age who are downloading Tinder looking for the next love of their life. So as a guy in his 20s, I just want to let the women out there know, and the 6% of you who watch my channel, okay, if you're getting on fucking Tinder for a relationship, I got bad news for you, okay? You may find the diamond in the rough, but casual dating is currently what the scene is looking like. If you're not willing to just fuck and hang out and shut up, you're out of a lot of people's leagues already. So apparently he was wrong for having this standard, which is weird because, like I said, that's how the dating scene's kind of transformed in the last few years. I don't know, obviously, how long this has really been going on. I'm obviously just now in my 20s, so Tinder and all these things have only really been around for a few years. And obviously, I would think most people don't see a problem with this, right? Obviously, this is just how people act now. But no, this guy was fucking wrong, right? Because he was not texting back. He was ghosting. So TikTok, of course, didn't just let it go at that, right? The fact that he was just fucking not responding and had a name for himself, that wasn't enough. He started getting accused of all kinds of crazy shit, man. Like I said, people made sexual assault allegations against him and whatnot. Obviously, there isn't really any proof behind this that I've seen, at least. There's no real evidence that he's done anything like this. I think that's a pretty fucking massive allegation to put against someone's name and not have proof for it, especially if you're gonna post a video of it to TikTok, right, and say that this happened to you. Literally no proof that, you know, even they met up, right? There's no proof that this person met this guy or anything, but, you know, they're just saying that this happened, right? And everyone's supposed to just immediately jump on board with that, and a lot of people did. One of the craziest allegations I heard was that he was quote-unquote love bombing someone, right? And unfortunately, I don't have the direct text message that I saw because the person who posted the Twitter thread unfortunately deleted it, I believe after being repeatedly harassed by people for coming out and defending this guy while it was all still kind of brand new. Basically what he said to this woman on Tinder was there was a chance he would fall in love with her after the first date, okay? Now, at the bare minimum, this was just heavy flirtatious behavior. He was just trying to fuck or whatever, right? And he just said, you know, whatever he thought she wanted to hear so that he could. Obviously, this is not the first time a man has ever done this. Wouldn't be the first time a woman ever did it either if he was a woman. People do this shit all the time, right? People say what they think the other person wants to hear so they can get a reaction. You can have an opinion about that, that's fine, but it's been going on for a while now, and to constantly call this guy out and make it out like he's doing something wrong for doing this is ridiculous. But and at the very worst, it was a somewhat cringe-worthy joke, okay? That's really all it comes down to. They made it out like this guy was fucking love bombing him. Now, let me tell you what love bombing is, right? If you don't know what love bombing is, essentially, it's a manipulative tactic that actually manipulative bad people use in order to basically mentally entrap people. So, for instance, a complete psychopath, he is in a relationship with a woman, right? He's a complete douchebag or asshole, but to keep them in that relationship, to win them back, he will be overly affectionate, right? He'll dump a bunch of affection on them. He'll be really touchy-feely, kissing on them, telling them all this sweet stuff, you know, oh, I love you so much. Basically acting as if like he's this one-of-a-kind guy, this perfect fucking person who really loves you for you, as if he never is going to be mean to you or abuse you again. That's what real love bombing is. It's an actual deadly fucking technique that a lot of people in very manipulative and abusive relationships face. It is not when some guy flirts with you on fucking Tinder and says that he may or may not fall in love with you after the first date. That That is not fucking love bombing, and the fact that people online are trying to classify this as love bombing, all it does is trivialize abuse. And realistically, that's all this whole situation does. It trivializes abuse, it trivializes real abusive and toxic relationships, where people really do use techniques like love bombing to make people stay in relationships with them, and so they can fucking abuse them even more, right? But TikTok never considers the consequences of what they do, right? So of course, you know, this guy gets accused of love bombing and all this other shit, so now what does TikTok do? They run and start fucking doxing him, okay? They find his full name, they find his age, where he lives, what city he's in, where he fucking works. Apparently people start calling his place of employment and telling them that everyone on TikTok is fucking with him and that all this stuff's been alleged against him, trying to get his job taken away from him and all this other shit. And it gets to this point that the mainstream media reports on it. And this is what I have an issue with here too. The mainstream media, while they kind of cover this as a situation where obviously he wasn't in the wrong, and I'm gonna straight up say he wasn't really in the wrong, he got completely fucking crusaded for no reason, but instead of keeping this guy anonymous, you know, they give his fucking name and his age and all this other shit, where he lives, just really only encouraging and further aiding the doxing that has already happened, the harassment that's already happened, also that they can get clicks. I'm not sharing this guy's full name, I'm not sharing his age, any of that shit, because he doesn't deserve what's happening to him. And you know, you can make arguments about his behavior, right? Can you say, oh, well, he could have at least texted him that he's not interested? Sure, you can say that, but once again, these are fucking strangers. They don't owe this guy their time. You're fucking strangers. What kind of social contract do you think you have where you feel entitled legitimately to someone's time and it's not a joke, right? On fucking Tinder. Some of the articles even paint him out to be in the wrong, like, oh, he was ghosting these poor women. You know, he's a douchebag, right? He's a player. He's a sucker, right? He makes you fall for it. What this guy does is literally no different than what 90% of men already do when they're on these dating apps. Even women. I'm not even going to hold it just to men. 90% of women do the same shit. It's literally common behavior, but because this guy got called out for it on TikTok, he got fucking literally assaulted by the internet, right? They actually doxed him and tried to fucking take his job from him and harass him. And let's think about some of the other crimes that he did, okay? They accuse him of sending at least one unsolicited nude to somebody that he was talking to on Tinder. I can understand why this is annoying and disgusting. Personally, I wouldn't send a just random fucking nude to somebody, but you're on a dating app that people use to have casual sex all the time. I'm pretty sure that you probably could have seen that coming at least 1 or 2 times. You know, I'm once again not excusing just unsolicited nudes and whatnot to people, but this kind of shit happens on these apps, okay? He's not the only one doing it, male or female. It's weird that he's the only one called out for this. Okay, and here's the worst crime of it all, folks. He was exposed for sending the same Spotify playlist to different women and saying that he made it special for them. The classic douchebag, you know. It's a really good dating tactic, man. You say, oh, I made this playlist for you. You put some fucking music you like in it. If you guys have good music taste together, you know, you like each other's music, you guys are more compatible, right? You know, finding a woman who listens to Kanye West and Playboi Carti for me, you know, wasn't the biggest deal, but it definitely helped. So that was the worst of the crimes that he committed. He fucking sent a Spotify playlist to somebody that he sent to another woman, right? This fucking heartbreaker, man. Here's some shocking revelations for all the women out there watching this. If a man ever, and I mean ever, sends you a fucking Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, anything playlist, and says he made that music specially for you, if you're not dating already, you're not his fucking girlfriend or whatever, that playlist has been sent to somebody else. Let's get fucking real here. How fucking dare this guy share his music taste with multiple women, right? How dare he share the same amalgamation of different artists' songs in a fucking computerized playlist on a social media app? How dare he? We should dox him and fuck with him, right? So it's insane to me that this is actually something that's going on, because this guy, at the very worst, right, he's a fuckboy, okay? That's the very worst of it. He's looking for easy pussy on the internet, okay? Not the first guy to do it, won't be the last, I'm pretty sure, right? But that's the worst of it. Unless allegations of him, you know, potentially sexually assaulting people and sending unsolicited nudes are actually real, and there's evidence behind it, and in the case of him actually potentially being a predator, maybe he deserves actual consequences, but until there's evidence shown, I'm not gonna call him that. Just because some people on fucking TikTok all hate him because he ghosted him, and now everyone's jumping on the trend of shitting on this guy and hating him and fucking harassing him, it doesn't mean I'm gonna jump on board too. And I know this might blow TikTok's mind, But you can actually wait for context. You can actually wait for proof. You can actually wait for these fucking statements to be validated. And oh, and also, you don't have to follow the hive mind that tells you that this guy's a piece of shit for doing what everyone does during casual dating. You don't have to believe that this guy's a fucking serial monster because he fucking texted the same Spotify playlist to 2 different women. If this guy did something actually wrong, genuinely wrong, show the fucking proof, show the evidence, go to the police, do something. But I'm not gonna hate this guy because TikTok tells me to over fucking him being a playboy, over him trying to get some pussy, right? I'm not doing that. It's just insane that even as like a regular person without an audience or like without a name to yourself, you can instantaneously now be the internet's new target of the day because a couple of women on TikTok got upset that you didn't fucking text them back, bro. And everyone just bit it, you know? Everyone on fucking TikTok jumped right along it, bro. No critical thought whatsoever. They didn't think that, hey, maybe this isn't really a big deal. I know, shocker, the internet not critically thinking about a situation and overreacting. When does that fucking happen, right? But this is just stupid. The fact that this is even going on, still going on, ever happened is insane to me. From what I'm seeing, this guy does not deserve the harassment that has been levied against him. And these news outlets are actually criticizing him because he fucking scrubbed his social media. So I read the New York Post article here where they claim that he was, quote, gone like the wind, and he hasn't been spotted since his antics went viral, okay? What fucking antics? Doing the same thing everyone else does on social media, on dating apps? For being a regular fucking person? Those are the antics that he pulled off that were so terrible? Of course he scrubbed his social media accounts and disappeared from the internet because he was fucking talking to women online. He got doxxed. People tried to get his job taken from him and ruin his fucking life. I think that's a pretty good reason for somebody to scrub their internet presence and try to fucking disappear. I don't know, maybe I'm in the wrong for thinking that you shouldn't be fucking doxxed for not responding on a texting app or whatever. With that being said though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below, and until my next video guys, this is Optimus, not doxing West Elm Caleb, and signing out.